Sixers drop a tight one to the Knicks, 112 to 109, going to 24-20 on the season. I am Coy Camiscioli from Philly Sports Talk here. Going to break down the game for you, give analysis on all performances from our players, including our coach. And I'm pissed off tonight. Quite frankly, I'm going to keep it very blunt. I'll be very broad in the beginning of this episode, but eventually it has to get tiring for not only the fans, but to the players and to Nick Nurse to let games slip away like this. You know, the Sixers, they're very good at playing a good first half, and the second half comes, and it just turns to complete dog shit. It can be very blunt and serious about it, because that's what it is. Sixers, they go into the half up 4 points on the Knicks. They come out in the third quarter, and they get outscored 30-13. 30-13 in the third quarter. 13 third quarter points. I just want to emphasize that again. You know, Joel Embiid had the amazing first half. It's great to see him playing how he is again. It's great to see him moving. Give props to his doctor. This is his first game since 2023 of multiple dunks, multiple threes. All that is great stuff, but he went cold in that second half. I'm not necessarily mad at Embiid until later on in the game. I'll get into that in a second. But it just goes stale. And it's really unbelievable to watch this team just completely go stale. And they play such a good first half, and they dig themselves a hole in that second half, and then they had the audacity to try and come back with like 5 or 6 minutes left every single game. And usually the hole they dug themselves is just a little too steep, a little too far to get out of, and they can't do it, and there's just not enough time left to overcome the deficit. And that's exactly what happened here. That has been the case in a lot of games this year for the Sixers. Again, it just gets really annoying. It's unacceptable. A game like this is unacceptable. Even with beating the Knicks a couple times at the Garden earlier this year, this is a statement game. The Knicks had a crap ton of fans in the X to watch this game. Their chants were taking over our fans. The Deuce McBride chants, I hate that guy. All that stuff. The Let's Go Knicks chants. It's unacceptable. And the fact that the Sixers as a team didn't shut them up in that third quarter because they just went completely stale, that's embarrassing too. So yes, it's embarrassing on the fans, but it's embarrassing for everybody involved, to be honest with you. Now, all the negative stuff aside, this was a great basketball game to watch. This was a regular season basketball game that was entertaining, that most people will find it really fun to watch. And if you don't, you're just not a basketball fan. This is a great game. But it doesn't mean the Sixers should not have executed better, because they failed to execute in a lot of things. So I'm going to point out a couple numbers real fast for you. As of 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the Sixers were getting outscored in second chance points. They gave up 24. The Knicks gave up 2. 24-2 in second chance points. That will not cut it. Another thing that will not cut it, the Sixers are 29th out of 30 in the National Basketball Association in defensive rebounding. That is not a championship contender stat. It's just not. And especially you run into a team against the Knicks, and I talked about it for a couple years now, that the Knicks are the Sixers' kryptonite. I said it on the podcast 2 years ago before we even ran into them in the playoffs, that this is probably going to be a problem. We just don't match up well. Knicks are very gritty on the offensive boards. Sixers are the complete opposite. And some things, eventually I do accept the fact that the Knicks are a better rebounding team, but then you can just minimize damage a little bit. There's a huge difference between when the Knicks and Sixers take shots. The whole team is going inside for a rebound when the Knicks shoot, and when the Sixers, most guys are just prancing back on defense. And that also falls into Nick Nurse. Now, granted, I know our 7'2" center, Joel Embiid, we don't want him jumping around as much as he used to. I'm okay with that. He had a injury scare in this game too. He's fine. But it's just, there's other players in the court that can potentially wreak some havoc on the glass. And I don't know. It's really disappointing to see. And I'll pull out the offensive rebound numbers now. 19 offensive rebounds for the Knicks compared to our 6. It's just like how it was in the playoffs 2 years ago. In the playoffs 2 years ago, it was like the most offensive rebounds in a playoff series in like 40 years or something. I forget, it was a couple years ago now, but it was just terrible to watch then, and it's terrible to watch now, because the Sixers, they shot 51% from the field as a team. The Knicks shot 44%, and you lose. It's because of how much more shots they get to put up. The Knicks, made 15 of 27 free throws. They had a 56% percentage at the free throw line in this game. You got to take advantage of these little things, but then it just comes down to effort, and that's where, the Knicks just have us. And Josh Hart, give him credit. He had 5 of the team's offensive rebounds. Mitchell Robinson had 6 offensive rebounds. It's little things like that just the Sixers just can't play against, and that's why this team probably will not win. But at the same time, they are a very talented team. I don't want to sound all negative in this game, but it is disappointing. And there's some more negatives coming up. So I haven't even talked about most of this stuff yet. I'll give like a third quarter and fourth quarter breakdown. Knicks, they go on a quick run. They take the lead in the third quarter. As I mentioned, the Sixers had a 4-point lead entering the half. Embiid went cold, and the Knicks go on a 15-0 run. And we don't call a timeout. Okay? We were just committing turnovers left and right, just like every other second half in the season this year. And then it just keeps getting extended. In a 6-minute span, the Knicks went on a 19-3 run. 6-minute span. No timeout. Nick Nurse, you gotta call timeout. Just an idiotic decision, man. Idiotic. You also had to know going into this game that your team is not good in defensive rebounding. They're also struggling in the second half. And they're out-hustled by a team like the Knicks. And it has the history in it, too. 2 years ago, most offensive rebounds in 40-something years in the playoff series. And you don't take a timeout in a 6-minute span where you're just getting thrown out the gym. It was embarrassing. I was screaming the whole time to call timeout. Unacceptable, Nick Nurse. Unacceptable. I usually don't get on the coaching staff. This cannot happen. You can't let 6 minutes go by and not call a timeout when you're getting destroyed on the glass, committing turnovers, and not making shots, not getting good shot looks. It's a disaster. And if you've been listening to my Sixers podcast before, you'll know that I've been trying to break down the whole second half struggles. And one of the things I mentioned is that the Sixers, they tend to commit a lot of turnovers, but it's not only that. Not only does their transition defense kind of suck after committing turnovers, it's just kind of their defense in general after committing turnovers. It feels like they're just buckets after committing a turnover, even if the opposing team slows it down. So it's little things like that. Not calling time out there, it's disgraceful. He deserves to get some heat for that. That crap is terrible, to be honest with you. Enough on that. We were trailing 86-72 with 2.5 minutes left in this third quarter. Forget about the third quarter now. Let's go to the fourth. Carlton Towns, sorry if I mumbled, fouled out with 5.5 left in this quarter. And then here we go. With around 4 minutes left, the Sixers try to do their little run. They finally decide to start playing, decide to start getting boards on the glass. They go on an 11-0 run, and now we're right back in the game. And this is where just all chaos just broke out. We had a lack of defensive rebounding, leading to a big Knicks 3. We go down. The refs missed a call, which was bad. The refs have been kind of missed a couple big calls on the Sixers last couple games. It put the Knicks on the free throw line. And but then we got a 3. We got a quick 3. And B gets the crowd into it. He starts raising his hands up like that. Great stuff. Then Landry Shamet missed a 3 right after that. But guess what? OG Anunoby comes from the rafters to get a putback dunk. Just embarrassing. It was a ferocious putback dunk. So they go up 2 scores again instead of the Sixers having a chance to get into it. Now we're down 8. Maxey knocks down a quick 3 with 32 seconds left, down 5. Then we force a jump ball somehow. Edgecombe hits both free throws as he was fouled on the jump ball. It's a 3-point game with 32 seconds left. The Knicks go to inbound it. VJ Edgecombe fouls, which is, you just can't have there because we just can play straight up defense down 1 score with 32 seconds left. But that's not the case. So Knicks, they go 1-1 from the free throw line, I believe. And we go for a 2. Or no, the Knicks hit both. I'm sorry. We go for a 2 on the other, and Maxey gets a quick 2, which originally I was like, we got to go for 3 there. But great job. We get it within 3. Knicks take the ball at the court. Paul George with excellent defense as the Knicks were breaking down our full court press. They had like a 2-on-1 or something. I forget. I think it was Anunoby goes up. Paul George goes up vertical with him. and just great defensive stop. We get the ball. It was originally a foul call on George. It was challenged. Call gets reversed. We get the ball down 3. And this is where the bullshit comes in, guys. The bullshit. I just want to say it again like that. We inbound the ball down 3. Maxey gets fouled, right? Kind of fouled. We're up 3. You know, if you're a little unfamiliar and you don't watch too much NBA, teams will try to play this strategy where if they're up 3 points and there's less than 24 seconds left, they'll intentionally foul because they're going to give you 2 free throws instead of a chance to tie the game with a 3-pointer. So Maxey he was fouled. He was fouled. I will put it that way. He was definitely fouled. But the whistle doesn't get blown, and he just hucks up like a near half-court shot and airballs, and we miss the possession. And I am just so sick and tired of the Maxey flails and the crap like this. Listen, yes, it was a foul, but I'm kind of glad they didn't call it because, again, for years on this podcast, I have been talking about how the game gets close, down late, and Maxey's taking the final shot, and he kind of just drives in like recklessly and just flails, tries to draw a foul. It usually never goes in. It just never goes in, and the foul usually never gets called. And here he is again, down 3, and we do this crap. It airballs. It's a complete and utter waste of possession. It's embarrassing. Now, granted, again, it should have been a foul, but at some point you got to stop foul baiting. It's just not like every single time with the game on the line we do this crap. It never works, man. It seriously never works. Now, granted, and this is a quote I pulled on my phone. I saw this. No context really posted it. If the NBA is going to allow the intentionally foul up 3 strategy to exist, they need to call the intentional fouls. They're not wrong, but at the same time, Tyrese Maxey, you just gotta it's just not working. I just can't stand it. So the craziness didn't end there though. The Knicks inbound the ball. We intentionally foul. Jalen Brunson misses both free throws, so we get the ball back. We inbound, or we don't even inbound it. We're out of timeouts. So there's like 4 seconds left. Right, we're trying to break the full court, get up the court, get a 3-point shot up, and Bede tries to do a little bounce pass in between 2 Knicks players. It's not even close. It's stolen. We don't even come close to getting a shot up. Knicks win. Guys, it's embarrassing how this team performs late. And you know what? They would not be in this position if they decided to play a full basketball game and not completely let up in the second half, and then magically start trying and try to dig themselves out of the hole that they just dug themselves into initially. They shot themselves in the foot, they took the ball out, and they shot themselves again in the head. And that was the theme of this game once again for the 76ers. And it just gets sick and tiring to watch. Now, I'm very angry about this game because it's a rivalry game. I want to win this game a little bit, without a doubt. And I have high expectations for this team. This team is very talented. You know, they can compete with anybody. I know they're only 24-20. And, you know, they won the first 4 games of the season. They've been 20-20 ever since. But, you know, most people see them and think, oh, they're an average basketball team. The Sixers can beat literally anybody. But they can lose literally anybody because they just go back and forth winning and losing. And I promise you that trend's probably going to continue come playoff time. But I've accepted that nothing will change with this team. They're going to dig themselves in holes every game, and they're going to try and get out of it. And it's going to be too little, too late. It's just the theme with this team, and a lot of it needs to be on Nick Nurse as well. But the late game shots by Maxey, you know, it's usually the play where Embiid gets the inbound or somebody else gets the inbound, and it's almost like a pick where Maxey just shoots out of a cannon. They pass it off to Maxey. He goes, runs in, usually never has inside leverage on the defender, throws up a shot, falls into the seats, and it never goes in, no fouls called. So I'm sick of seeing that happening, and it happened again in this game, even though, again, I'm not going to fully blame him because it technically was a foul. I will not steer away from the facts completely. But it's just annoying. And I'm honestly kind of glad they didn't call it because I'm so sick of seeing that shot attempt. But yeah, that's the analysis there from the game. I'm getting into some stat lines real fast. Joel Embiid, again, the good thing is it's great to see him play again. He, like this again, at this level again, he looks unbelievable. He deserves to be in the All-Star game. 38 points, 13 of 21 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3, 11 rebounds, 5 assists. Just a great job by Joel Embiid. It was a fun to watch first half. He got going a little bit in the second half in the fourth quarter, not in the third quarter at all. He was like scoreless through like 4 minutes in the fourth quarter in the second half, obviously. But it's great to see him play like this. Clearly this game meant something to him. I know he didn't try to lose this game. I know all that stuff, guys. I defend Joel Embiid till the end. So it's cool to see him doing his thing. As for Maxey 22 points, 8 of 15 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3, 6 assists, 2 steals, a block for Maxey. Edgecombe, he knocked down a really big 3 in this game, and when it was really tight late in that fourth quarter, 14 points, 5 of 9 from the field, 4 rebounds, 4 assists from him. Paul George only had 9 points, just 3 of 10 from the field. He missed a couple 3-pointers that I'm sure he'd like to have back, but he had some very good defense late. Oubre, 14 points, 5 of 10 from the field, 7 rebounds for him. All at the bench, nothing too crazy. No Sixers bench player over 5 points. It's kind of like the old Sixers traditions coming back, where the bench just doesn't score, even though this team is so deep. And I think part of that is because of how much the offense has run through Joel Embiid in this game. But, Quentin Grimes, he just hasn't been himself lately. You can tell, just 4 points and 0 of 4 from the field. Or 0 of 4 from 3. It's just not falling for him right now. It kind of stinks, but he'll get going. Bona had 12 backup center minutes in this one. Nothing really from him. Barlow off the bench, 17 minutes. He had 4 points. Watford had 2 points in 10 minutes. And that was it for your Sixers. As for the Knicks, Jalen Brunson, he dropped 31. Anunoby had 23 points. Just little things like that for the Knicks. Brunson also shot 6-12 from 3. But, yeah, disappointing loss for the Sixers. They really had a chance in this one. They should have won this game, even despite what they did to themselves in the third quarter. But you know what? That's all I got on it. So I'm not going to continue to beat a dead horse. Coming up from the Sixers, they take a little break from this home stand, and they head out to Charlotte. They play the Hornets on Monday night. Then they come back home for 3 games, face the Bucks on Tuesday for the second half of a back-to-back, the Kings on Thursday, and then the Pelicans on Saturday to round out that little 3-game homestand. So they'll be back at home, and quick little standings update. Sixers currently sit at the 6th seed, which is the last seed that doesn't have to play in the play-in if the playoffs were to end today. And they have a game up on the 7th seed Magic. They are 3.5 games back of the 2 seed Celtics, 2.5 games back of the 3 seed Knicks, and that's why this one kind of hurts so bad. 1.5 back of the Cavs, 2.5 back of the Raptors. Cavs are the 5th seed, Raptors the 4th seed, so it's obviously very tight. And then the Bucks, who are the first team out right now of the play-in at 14.5 games. Sixers have a 6-game lead on them. So, again, it looks like we're going to be playing some meaningful games into April and May, but we'll see. Some stuff around the league. Hornets, they beat the Wizards. That doesn't really matter for the Sixers. Cavs, they took down the Magic. That does matter. Obviously, the Magic are 1 spot behind us. Cavs are one ahead of us. Bulls, they knocked down a big-time 3 late. They take down the Celtics. It's a pretty big win for them. They get over 500 at 23-22. Lakers, they beat the Mavs, nothing there. And the Heat, they blew out the Utah Jazz. But, yeah, guys, that's all I got. A very tough, good basketball game, but tough loss in this one. And I'll be back to recap the 6th game against the Hornets coming up.